Swadika, hello everyone. Welcome to Site 2022, supported by National Innovation Agency, Thailand. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Ko as your host, and I'd like to bring you all to the forum session with the topic is Global Startup Hub and Open Arms for All Startups. Ladies and gentlemen, the Global Startup Hub is a very important mechanism to accelerate the growth of startup in order to develop an ecosystem that is ready and able to support the rapid expansion of startup businesses. And how are startups in Asia preparing for recovery after the easing of COVID-19 situation, whether in terms of infrastructure, laws, regulations, investment privileges, and related policies? Ladies and gentlemen, for this occasion, I would like to introduce four panelists and one moderator. First of all, he is the Chief Executive Officer of Rai, Mr. Matas. The next co-founder and CTO of Unity, Mr. Simon. Next CEO of Tokenizer, Mr. Manindra. And one more CEO of Site. Welcome, Mr. Justin. And ladies and gentlemen, I would like to give this floor and this session to Kun Gitapat or Chris, Senior Innovation Strategist from NIA. Kun Chris, the floor is yours. Please welcome.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Grisapat Gantanamekanan or Chris from NIA, and we'd like to welcome you to this session on Global Innovation Hubs. And today we have joined by four CEOs and founders of startups that have landed in Thailand and have passed through their landing journey, and they're all very interested and they're all very diverse. And today we'd like to introduce you to these founders, and we'll start by CEO and co-founder founder of Rai, Mr. Matas, please.
Hey, hello everyone. Yes, so my name is Matas, and thanks for having me here today. So I'll just then go and quickly present myself. So I've been living in Thailand for almost 8 years right now. And since the beginning, I was involved into Thailand startup ecosystem, because around that time, it was the beginning of it. So I saw the whole journey from just starting the first events and ecosystems and the peak and the transformation eventually. I've been involved with food and beverage acceleration in UK and here in Thailand. And eventually, I started to work with several different technologies and tech startups. I'm involved with Knowledge Exchange, KX, which is an innovation center here in Bangkok. I work a lot with startup incubation fundraising as well. And I'm a co-founder of Startup Studio. So our experience is to work with local corporates and entrepreneurs and build ideas from zero to launch, to put it on the shelf. And it happened that Rai is one of our startups, which I'm leading. And basically it's an example of finding an idea, building it up and putting it to the market. So currently I'm focusing on expansion of our services and business development of Rai. Our main focus is related to agricultural drones. So we started as a platform that helps to connect freelancers with farmers directly, something similar to Grab or Uber, just for agricultural drones. So if you ever want to spray pesticides, you can look us up. And currently we are developing our own fleet of drones. So we are acquiring different type of hardware, and we provide more added value services to local agricultural companies. So I have quite a wide knowledge about corporate and startup ecosystem here in Thailand and the region. And I'm very happy to be here today and share some knowledge and my own personal experiences of being a foreign entrepreneur and many hurdles I had to overcome for the last 8 years. Okay, so thanks a lot.
Okay, thank you, Matas. And remind you again, the deep tech and ag tech is currently one of the focus of NIA and one of the focus of the Thai government as a whole as well in the BCG Biocircular Green model. So we look forward to having more projects with Matas, and thank you for the contribution. And next we'll move on to
maybe I could add a little one sentence to this. I think that currently it become more and more a global issue because of recent developments of invasion to Ukraine and general complications of COVID-19. This is kind of emergency. So I would urge everyone to look more into agri-tech and agriculture and food supply chains in general.
Yes, and food security as well. Okay, thank you, Mathis. And we'll move on to Simon, please.
All right, thank you very much for having me here. And well, yes, I'm Simon, and I'm the Chief Growth Officer at Unity. And on my side, I've been in Thailand for 7 years now, and I've been working in corporations in the field of HR, right? So I have a background in HR and recruitment, and I grew in the field of talent management as well. And I kind of witnessed what we call the talent shortage from the inside. And that's why we actually launched Unity. And Unity is an HR tech company. And we aim to bridge the skill gaps in Asia. Well, we see quite black and white now that the pandemic has accelerated what we call skills obsolescence, right? And it's becoming even more harder and harder to recruit the right talents, and even harder and harder to retain them as well. So that's why we launched Unity, and to make it simple, our solutions helps companies to identify the skills with data. So thanks to AI, we aggregate data coming from job boards. So we recommend what are the right skills to develop. And from there, we visualize the skill gaps of the companies in order to upskill the workforce. And it has been quite a big journey because we have been actually just existing for 10 months. And from there, we directly had a focus in Southeast Asia. So not only Thailand, but Southeast Asia. And it helped us a lot, well, from Thailand to learn from our customer base. And we will surely discuss about why Thailand after that, but it was quite helpful to be here to learn about, well, the challenges and the skills shortage in the region too. So thank you very much again for having me here.
Okay, thank you, Simon. One quick question: how does the word unity comes from? Where does it come from?
Yes, so actually the H is for humans and unity for unity. And basically it matches our global vision to unite individuals around skills and knowledge. And that's why we launched it.
I have background in information management and robotic process automation. Do you think HR being automated in this kind of programs will replace human HR, or do you see them work closely with one another?
I would say it would focus the value of HR where it needs the most, and it's to support the business. And well, HR now is working on redundant tasks that are very much manual, and that's what we are supporting to digitize indeed.
Yes, we need to release the people from the mundane tasks and let them work on more value-added tasks.
Definitely.
Thank you, Simon. And next, we'll move on to Manindra, please.
Hi everyone, so Manindra here, founder CEO for Tokenizer Bank. So what we're building is basically a digital bank, a neo-digital bank, which combines both crypto and fiat banking into a single app globally. So in order to do that, we are launching in a couple of geographies in parallel and have to build certain partnerships. We've started that in US already and had partnership with Visa and various sponsor banks. And now we want to use Thailand as basically our launchpad for Asian region. And we're still a startup, but have this ambition of basically Asian and US to be the main markets. And that's why I'm here now. I've been in Bangkok for last 6 months, building our company here for the operations, and then also like looking at various form of partnerships with banks and payment gateways to launch the app. And I think towards the end of this year, we can launch our app in Thailand and potentially rest of the Asian region as well. Personally, so I've been in startup for the last couple of years. I did my MBA from Harvard Business School in San Francisco, and then I did my first startup, and this is my second, where I'm really interested into blockchain. I got into crypto, but I've always seen the problem that it's not getting mainstream because it's very difficult to use crypto for day-to-day life. But I think that should not be actually a problem, because the unique thing about crypto is liquidity with fiat all the time. So with the right design in mind, you don't necessarily have to use the crypto for day-to-day, but you can build those bridges very easily, so that for end user, it's a seamless experience. They're basically just doing their things and using multiple assets. Currently, mainly using the Thai baht or US dollars. In the future, you'll use all of your digital assets in order to live your day-to-day life, both for personal or business. And that's where we're transitioning to a single app where you can save, you can invest, you send money, do all of these activities for both crypto and fiat in a singular app. We're busy building it out, and I think it has this app like this has to be built with local consideration in mind, with local bank and local gateways and things like that. And that's why I'm here. So we aim to launch in the next 3 months, and we are also fundraising for efforts here. I'm really enjoying my time here in Thailand and Bangkok, and great to see the amazing startup ecosystem. Yeah, and you look forward to continue. And thanks for having me here.
Yeah, thank you, Manindra, and it's good to see, especially now with all the awareness in crypto exchange, blockchain in Thailand. We are expecting a lot of exciting things from you and your startup as well. Thank you for joining us today. And
Sure.
Last but not least, Justin, please.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Justin Hensroth. I'm a co-founder and CEO of Zeit. Zeit is a smart cities and smart infrastructure management platform. I've been in Thailand actually for about 10 years now. Most of that time was not working in the startup space. I came here working with NGOs. I was working on kind of urban climate change planning, moved from there into working with UN agencies, but first on climate change planning, later on disaster response and humanitarian responses. And kind of came to the startup through basically like coming across the same issue over and over again, which is everyone was talking about. There's so much that gets built. Southeast Asia is one of the fastest urbanizing regions. Post-disasters, billions of dollars goes into rebuilding things, but no one really knew how to sort of maintain quality standards throughout construction processes, throughout operations processes. And so we launched Zeit basically as kind of a quality control, quality management tool that could work really well to kind of monitor individual work sites, but with an idea of what the needs of kind of urban planners or larger governments would be. So, not just kind of doing the quality control, but then thinking about what that data, especially when we can build that data up across scales over time, over space, what that might be able to help us do in terms of being able to understand what's going on in the city, what's going on with our projects, with our programs.
Okay, thank you, Justin. And construction, and procurement in Thailand is a huge thing. And currently we just had our new Bangkok governor, and who will be joining our side event as well. So we have good prospects, and your solution will definitely address a lot of problems and pain points for the startups in Thailand. And now let us move on to the first key question of the session. So as we all heard from you, you all have different background and from different countries. And what we like to ask is, why have you specifically choose Thailand to land and launch your startup journeys, and what are the key success factors? What are things that you had in mind when you chose Thailand as your landing point? Okay, maybe we'll start with Matis.
Sure. Well, I think that my story with Thailand is a bit comical. I arrived here kind of with a very slim reason. I just graduated my studies in UK, and I had a group of friends who were staying here and working on their startup project, and I just joined them for a bit to see how the things are going. Actually, we were planning to move to Sri Lanka, and it just happened that we started to work and we got overwhelmed with work. So we had to delay our trip to Sri Lanka, and I stayed, and it's like 8 years now. So it was not planned per se, from the beginning, but I'm happy it happened. And through that time, that's where I start to grow in startup industry together with the ecosystem of startups in Thailand. So basically for the last 8 years, since the government started to push Industry 4.0 and organize all the ecosystem, I was here and I was part of it through many different angles. And now, as being here and doing startups here and seeing the progress of the whole ecosystem, I can say that now I'm staying here because it's comfortable, it's convenient to do business here, and it becomes easier and easier to do so rather than compared like 6 years ago. So, I'm kind of becoming part of it. So it's difficult for me to leave.
Yes. You're saying experience improves over time, and it's one of the key factors that made you stay in Thailand, right? And we've heard a lot about startups that choose Thailand because as like you said, living and experience the Thai culture is very comfortable, and in Thai we call it sabai, right? And how do you feel on that? Like, is Thailand crafted for living for people with different nationalities? What are your feels on that?
Okay, so I'll try to be very honest, and open. So for living, yes, of course, people are friendly. There's a lot of interesting locations, great food, a lot of attractions. I'm not talking about the last 2 years of COVID, which complicated everything. But in general, so it's a comfortable place to be. To work here, though, is a bit more complicated, so sometimes that's a buy mentality when it jumps into the fast deadlines and execution. That becomes something that you need to learn to deal with. Understanding the local culture and the mindset of people, of professional people of different backgrounds is very important, and it's not instant. It's very difficult to transition, and sometimes even now I discover new things all the time about the culture, about society. So it's a kind of lifelong learning process. So if you really are serious to do business, let's say not only from here but in here, that has to be a commitment, and it's doable, but it's like anywhere, it's not easy. But there's also a lot of support available. Great facilities in Thailand. I've been working with Thai Science Park Association. I've been working from different science parks all over Thailand. Facilities are world class, so there's a lot to utilize, a lot of things that you can get from various ecosystems and universities, so that I could promote as a foreigner in Thailand that it is a comfortable place, challenging but comfortable.
Okay, thank you, Mathis. And how about Simon? What are your views on why did you choose Thailand?
Well, at first it was for a double degree actually that I studied at Chulalongkorn, and I came here to study first. And well, I fell in love with the country, so I decided to stay, and then work here. And why Thailand as well? For unity. I would say we have been Southeast Asia centric from day one. So the location is just great because it offers us proximity with our prospect and customer base, right? We can pretty much do business with Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore, Vietnam, Thailand. So it's really a strategic hub in the region, and that's a main driver of our decision of staying here as well. Thailand also has I would say good diversities of industries to make business with. So from manufacturing, FMCG, retail, this is quite interesting for us because it's also accelerating our learning curve on different areas of the business. And I think Matt has highlighted the infrastructure. That's very important actually when you're a startup company or even a tech company starting in Thailand. Well, you need the connectivity to be sharp and on point, and it's really good to, to have a base here, because you have co-working space, you have Wi-Fi pretty much everywhere, and your prospects and users are digital as well. So this is, again, a good point. And some other countries, even in Southeast Asia, are not at this maturity level yet, right? And on top of that, there is a willingness from the government to meet the challenge of the industry 4.0. So at least there is a thinking right now to reform, upskill the workforce as well in Thailand, and invest to meet this challenge. So overall, these are the reasons that will explain why Thailand for Unity.
Thank you, Simon. And you talk a very interesting point that, from the latest GII report, Global Innovation Index, Thailand private sector has ranked #1 in terms of R&D investment as compared to the public sector, meaning that the Thai big corporates are willing to invest and constantly finding new startups, SMEs, or investment projects, and with strong corporations. And also in terms of supply chain, we have many global leaders in terms of manufacturing and service provider. Maybe you've heard of Thai Union, for example, is a global leader in food and agri-tech, and which have global innovation centers around the world. So how about on this point, Simon, have you experienced working with like Thai industrial partners, or you mentioned you have been utilizing workspaces, co-working spaces, and these things like that? Yeah, can you share with us?
Yes, absolutely. So for partners, there are corporations, and the corporation we are working with, they have their main base in Thailand, and they also have a regional workforce, right? And basically it's pretty much for us, we had to localize everything. So everything that we do is also in Thai, right? Which helps us to understand really local needs. So working with Thai companies gives you a real perspective about what are the real challenges at stake locally. And look, in terms of ecosystem of partners, you pretty much can find everything from legal to accounting to co-working spaces. And I want to say, no matter where you come from, myself, I'm French. You have some service providers that are French in any of those areas. And I'm sure it's pretty much the same in other nationalities. So that's really good, because you can meet those suppliers, providers, and they are really easy to access.
Okay, thank you. We also partner with Thai Union on a SPACE program, which is a food accelerator and incubator, and we have a French-speaking board member, so you can discuss with them later on. I will introduce you to them. Thank you. And moving on to Manindra, please, on the same question: why Thailand? Thank you. Your mic, please. Yes.
So when we decided to basically launch within the Asian region, and we were deciding between the other hubs being Singapore and Thailand, and then a couple of reasons skewed us move towards Thailand. Partly the ease of entry for more people from more parts of the world. I think it's easier for people to come in and out of Thailand. So that was one. For me myself, I got the new startup visa, so I was able to come in, set up everything, and work legally for the startup without worrying about my own work permit in the very beginning. So small things like that really did help a lot. We also see Thailand as really up and coming and growing very fast. The crypto industry is also sort of growing here with some of, as you know, there's some of the name players actually getting big investments from other banks and institutions. So I think all of that summed up for Thailand to be sort of a hub, an ideal hub for building a business for Asia. is also pretty close to Cambodia, Vietnam, and very easily accessible for any other Asian region. The flights are operating at very good times from here. So all of these sum together, we thought Thailand is probably our preferred partner. And yeah, so far I think we made the right choice.
Okay, and you mentioned we have a growing market for crypto and blockchain. Can you expand more on that? Do you think it having this awareness, the Thais, especially the young generations Thais, they are very fully aware of this. And with I remember it's last week we heard from Bill Gates saying that crypto and this blockchain. I mean, especially crypto is a sham, or maybe it's over expectation. So what are your views on that? And do you think it will transcend to the Thais youngsters, or how do you feel on that? Thank you.
Yeah, so I mean, Thailand is definitely one of the main countries which is actually adopting crypto in the right way by looking at it as a digital asset and having good startups and companies building on top of it. So you have Bitcube, Zipmax, and they also receive for Bitcoin, receive investment from SCB and others. So all of that is very encouraging. I mean, obviously, I don't think it's a scam at all. I mean, it's an asset. It's a digital asset. It's a new computing platform. I think we are at the very beginning of it. So in early 2000s or in 1990s, I think the internet was called a scam as well. But then Bill Gates and all the likes actually made a lot of money out of that. It's not scam, it's new, and it's hard and everyone do not see it that way, but it's new because it takes away intermediaries like every technology does, and money or Bitcoin and all the cryptocurrency trading is, I think, just the first application. So it's the tip of the iceberg. What you can do with the blockchain and Web3 technology. But I think ultimately I see it as actually a complete computing platform, which will transform not only banking and cryptocurrency for now, but we'll actually move on to everything else. So for sure, not a scam. And the current developments on the tokens and currency are a key part of it, because they provide sort of the we call it the gas fees, but basically they provide the incentives for developers all around the world to build applications on top of it and for decentralized hubs to be built up. So there's definitely a positive thing that's happening out of this market that's getting built up. I know people are tense over the last few days of market results, but I think globally the markets have been very much volatile, not only for digital assets, but everything else as well. But that's a very short-term view. Like if you look at any digital asset for even a 2-year period, it has grown exponentially. And like I said, beyond the market conditions and currency, there is the industry for blockchain and Web3 is very, very big. And we are basically at 1990 for internet, right? So everything is not really built up, so it looks like a scam because it's in a building up phase. I think that 10 to 20 years from now, we'll see this this is basically the basic building block of, let's say, the internet of tomorrow.
Oh, thank you. That's a very good view, and I'm sure maybe Simon have heard, but a lot of French startups, especially in crypto and blockchain, landed in Thailand, on some private island, and then launching like top secret crypto startup companies that were on the news a few months back. And we also have many Thai government agencies working specifically on verification and digital assetization and so on. So I think we are moving towards the more conservative, but not in a scam-like way. We are exploring all the opportunities and building up all the needed infrastructures for us to foresee the future applications in the future. Thank you, Manindra. And last but not least, please, Justin.
Yeah, I would just I would say I echo a lot of, especially what Matas and Simon said. I think I originally came here more for personal reasons, and especially stayed for a while because of personal reasons. It's Bangkok is a really compelling city. Thailand is a very interesting place. It's comfortable to live, but sort of exciting and new every day. But I would say, when we launched Zeit, and we launched Zeit now 2 years ago, we actually launched originally with customers outside of Thailand, and we still work mostly outside of Thailand. And predominantly we're in South Asia. So our biggest customers are in Bangladesh and Nepal. We're looking at some stuff in India. But as we looked about sort of where do you place a headquarters, Thailand just seemed to be such a better fit on a lot of reasons. Again, for everything that's already been said, Bangkok is an incredibly well-connected city. The infrastructure, the support, the services, the vendors, everything that's available here is sort of world-class, really easy to access, really accessible to foreigners. On the regulation side, I know that there's still a lot of people calling for it to be, further streamlined, but the reality is registering a business here, getting visas here, everything else is much simpler than kind of any other country in the region. And so, as a startup that it has, very explicit regional goals, we want to ultimately serve sort of all of South and Southeast Asia, and maybe even branch out beyond there. It was key to find a place that would serve as a good regional hub, not just a good country hub. And kind of looking everywhere in South and Southeast Asia, Bangkok was kind of the only place that made sense.
Okay, thank you for the very insightful comments, Justin. And moving on to the second key questions of today's session, we'll to focus more on how Global Hub of NIA facilitate your lending journey in Thailand, and what kinds of mechanisms which are on your wish list, or you would want a successful one-stop center for startups to look like. Maybe we start with Justin first.
Yeah, I would say, I think, so, the key thing that I think NIA has done, and really one of the biggest sort of things that has helped us launch then the Smart Visa program. It was great to be able to come in on a Smart Visa. That was a really easy way to be able to work here, to have the time to set up a company, to go through all of that steps. Along the way, through basically the Smart Visa application process, got to have a number of good conversations with NIA and with other stakeholders about sort of what our technology was, how that might be useful in the region, as well as specifically in Thailand. I think, if I was going to say where we'd be interested in more support, and this is, specific to us a little bit, because we do have a goal of working with governments, with city governments and with national government ministries, but having sort of a more clear path about how we might be able to engage with NIA, or how NIA might be able to help sort of make that connection. I think one of the things that, if I compare working in Thailand to other countries in the region, it's much more important to localize things here in Thailand. I think especially you go to South Asia, a lot of government work happens in English. You can sort of make a little bit more of a regional app, and you can test things out, and you can start working with people before you have to invest in localization. And, here in Thailand, I think for us, we see a lot of opportunity here, but trying to understand if it's really there and if it's worth the investment to sort of localize all of our app and all of our resources is kind of the hurdle we're facing right now. And to the extent that NIA, the Startup Thailand, these sort of startup hubs could help with some of those connections, with facilitating some of those conversations, that would be, I think, sort of a next key step that we would really value.
Thank you. And just as I informed you earlier, we have the governor of Bangkok, Dr. Chad, has joined us in our first day of the event. So maybe later on, our team could connect with you with all your requirements, and how we have a lot of support for our culture, some especially in language, and we have, a few weeks ago we were discussing, how should we use numeric number, would it be in Thai number? Because we have a different Thai numbers, or we use the international systems one. So there'll be a good progress in the future. Thank you. And
I would just, can I say one more thing? I think it's great to see the new governor Chat speaking at this conference. I think it's exciting what he's talking about. For us, one of the things I'm really excited about is, and I know it's causing them some problems, but he came in and then he really started promoting this Trafi Fondue application for reporting all sorts of urban issues. And I think now his team is facing a little bit of the challenge of, now we're getting a lot of reports. What do we actually do with that? And I think that's a really interesting conversation, and that's something that we've worked on with some of our other partners. Is it's not enough to just get data, but what do you actually do when you're getting reports from the field, from different work sites that are telling you there's a problem? How do you streamline it? How do you go through tens of thousands of pieces of data to figure out where you need to send your teams? So I love a connection if you have it, but I think I'm just really excited for Chat and some of the things that he's talking about doing.
Okay, thank you, Justin. And Manindra, same question, please. All right, your mic. Thank you.
Okay. Can you hear me now? Okay. So I think similarly, I think Smart Visa was really helpful. Like I just said, I think was one of the pivotal things we were looking at on the countries that is getting for me and my partners sort of like come in and spend time more easily, and Thailand and Smart Visa was really on top of the list that helped us getting there. More things that could be done would be partnerships like Justin just brought up. I think we are looking for partnership with various banks, VCs and other things. Potentially could be anything with, I think you're already doing some events and other things with fundraising and matchmaking. I think that's the right direction that all startups look out for. I think other than that, I think co-working spaces everywhere in Thailand, but potentially that could be that when you land with a Smart Visa or whatever, like maybe there is already a co-working space or a temporary one for us to come in and start working, and also meet other founders or other members of NIA. I think that would be quite nice to sort of get inducted into the ecosystem and hit the ground running from day one. So some of those things could be really useful. And obviously, like this event, I think is a great opportunity to meet other people from NIA as well as other founders. So yeah, look forward to more of these.
Oh, thank you, Manindra. And Simon, any views on that?
Yes, same comment actually about the Smart Visa. A big thumbs up to this initiative, because it's, as foreigners, it's helping our life out. And so a great initiative, as well as this kind of events like the one we are participating today. As a startup launching business in Thailand, the first things you are considering is, the legal side, right? You need to have a legal entity. You need to have a bank account. So these are very practical stuff you need to have as well. You need to have some information about local employment law to make sure you stay within the regulations. So, and those processes, they are quite paper-based and written in Thai, right? So I'm sure that we can all relate to that. My key takeaways would be as follow. Would be interesting to have maybe some competency centers, whether it can be legal or admin and finance, or others like IP, and to have a dedicated contact point would be also quite useful at the same time, because then it could centralize requests to to the competency center that is the most valid for the request. Yeah, overall, it was very easy to to be allowed to work in Thailand. And when we go through the process of it, well, we need to have, as foreigners, local support, right? It cannot be otherwise. So I would say that my comment is just right there, right? To try and bridge this gap to help the international startup to get what it needs to get to be operational.
And can I ask you what is the most difficult in process throughout your journey? What's the most?
You know, a simple things: opening a bank account.
So and what's your workaround now?
We are lucky enough to have a Thai support, right? So the connections, because we have been here in Thailand for quite some years now. But I have to admit, without this support, it would have been very difficult, you know, for us to operate in Thailand.
Okay, thank you, Simon. And last, Mathis, same question, please.
Yeah, so I think, you know, I completely agree with other speakers, and the legal base, you know, I know that there are some changes now about company registration and foreigners being able to own the majority of the shares, but I think it's still quite slow, all the changes that would transform, let's say, foreign companies keeping all the intellectual property in Singapore rather than Thailand. And it's a very common way of doing things, you know, and I'm not sure when Thailand will be ready, when we would be able to trust that the legal processes would be able to help you out in certain cases, you know, if you have issues. So that's one of the things, and I think I agree with the guys that, you know, mentioned that. Another point is, you said, like, wishful thinking. Of course, like, you know, also having more information available in foreign languages, well, at least in English, would be great. Not necessary about the legal, but let's say from other governmental institutions. Like, let's say I work with agriculture, and it's very difficult to get data in English. You know, there's a lot of data. It's a lot of useful data provided by the government about the farming, about the crops, and there are a lot of nice things happening, but they're still in Thai, and I understand the reasons, but I wish it would be more available in English. And one last thing is perhaps related to NIA or other funding agencies. Some of the funding schemes, even for local startups, are too complicated and tend to be very difficult to meet the requirements. They are not really suitable for real business case scenarios. Let's say having a co-founder, student as a co-founder, you know, there are common rules like that just complicates and overwhelms, you know. So I think it just has to be focused more on early stage innovation in general, because there's a lot of support for startups that are reaching Series A and up. You can get it from CVC, from VC, from government. Everyone wants to help them. But how do we make them, you know, how do we build more of them? That has to be, it means it has to be more support for early stage entrepreneurs, whether they're Thai or foreigners, to build, to set up, to test, to grow, you know. So that would be my thinking.
Thank you for your insights, and I completely agree that you know, the amount of information that is available in English or for specific foreigners are very limited. And you know, it's one of the things with the Thai the current ecosystem is that, you know, each funding agencies are really divided, and you know, like they each have their own focus. So you know, they have their own like hidden and their own agenda that they have to support. So maybe it's how they come up with sometimes a very ridiculous, you know, criteria which we could work on in the future. So to make it more open system is one of the key strategy of NA as well. We're trying to create more open system, and you know, and bring up in and bring out startups from Thailand abroad. And now we are running out of time, so I'll have one last question for each of you, and for a quick question. And what is your plan for the future in your landing journey in Thailand? Mathis, please. What's your goal and next step?
I think so. I'm really enjoying and I'm happy, you know, with the choice of the startup that I'm doing. I never thought I'm going to be related to farming or, you know, become a farmer, but I start to love agri-tech and I see a lot of potential. So I really see a bright potential future for Thailand, as it's known for its agriculture. It's known as the kitchen of the world. And I think there are many great things possible. So I'm happy to be part of that. I'm happy to be part of the push of integrating technologies into farmers' life, creating new generation of farmers. And that's, I like a cheeky saying that instead of kids buying NFTs, why you don't invest into farmland? And there's a lot of new ways to do farming, talking about drones, gamification, about a lot of new things that are coming up from many agri-tech startups. So I would like to encourage the younger generation to look into farming differently, because without food, nothing makes sense.
Thank you, Mathis. And Simon?
All right. Well, on my side, we started the journey 10 months back, right? And today we are at a point where we are thinking to look for fundings in the near future to scale our vision in Southeast Asia and APAC, right? So we realized actually companies that would be interested in what we do are not just in Southeast Asia, so it's quite a good avenue for growth. And well, what we wish to do and develop is to, well, develop an ecosystem that would help to bridge the gaps. And it's an ecosystem about training providers, an ecosystem of systems as well, because there are a lot of solutions that are intending to bridge this gap as well. So what we want to do is to develop our tech to be agile enough to welcome this ecosystem. And we wish to stay in Thailand. That's where we see the future. We would like our global HQ to be here. So I'm keen to dig into the community as well of partners and also fellow entrepreneurs too, because I'm quite keen to get some return of experience and feedback. I think it will be very beneficial to grow as well in the future.
Simon. And Vanilla, please.
Yeah, we plan to continue working in Thailand. We are raising our seed round as well, and then most likely we'll do that successfully. I'll set up a center, an operation center in Thailand, hire locally, and like make it our hub and HQ, at least for Asian, if not globally. There definitely is a huge future out of Thailand. Personally, like also like as a company, like so far we've been doing it just by ourselves. I'm also thinking of like sort of applying into some of the accelerators and incubators across in Thailand, so sort of like get more plugged into the whole startup ecosystem. I'm relatively new to everything, just a few months in. Yeah, and so yeah, let's enjoying the journey so far, and yeah, we'll continue building and yeah, working in Thailand. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And Justin, please.
Yeah. I mean, I would say it's very similar to everyone who's come before. Our next plans are growth. We've so far we've really seen a lot of success working with international organizations and with the UN, and we've just sort of finished a big global expansion where we've worked with one UN agency to go from 1 country to 6. But kind of as we look beyond that, the real interest for us is trying to figure out more ways to work with city governments. The UN is interesting, but limited. City governments is where we think we can have the biggest change. So our next steps here in Thailand, as well as across a couple other countries in South Asia, is essentially to find a city partner who would be willing to try and use our technology and see if we can provide value there, and hopefully figure out a way to build a sustainable business on that.
Okay, thank you, everyone. As we run out of time, I would like, on behalf of NIA, I would like to thank you for everyone for all your sharing and good insights. And we hope to bring these insights to bring about changes in the system as a change maker at NAA. And we would like to support more startups and entrepreneurs and enthusiasts to come up and land in Thailand, or we could help you land abroad as well. And just to update everyone, if you like to get in touch with NAA and keep in touch with these amazing programs and opportunities, you can also subscribe to our Facebook page and Global Startup Hub Thailand, or you can join our line group, which will have a QR later on, as the name is Keeping Up with Global Hub. And lastly, and thank you everyone again for your time today, and we hope to get connected and keep in touch. Thank you so much, everyone.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
ขอบพระคุณค่ะ Thank you very much for your kind support and such a very interesting for this forum session. Ladies and gentlemen, all audiences who interest in and join us via the QR code as live group or contact us for further information. As you can see on the screen, many channels are available. For example, Facebook, just follow us via Global Startup Hub Thailand, or email us as globalstartuphub@nia.or.th, or website globalhub.startupthailand.org. Or any audiences would like to scan via QR codes, as you can see, please come and join us as live group as well. I believe that every single activities of Site 2022 very interesting, and please join us for the next session. Thank you very much and have a nice day.